Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, traders. I've got up early this morning to try to get this video out so it can be posted before the market opens. I'm going to answer a question that I received on TradingView first, and then we'll go into the market analysis. I'll give you a little bit more detail again this week about what I'm thinking when I'm analyzing the market. Well, the question that was posed was about people posting trade setups or signals. And I was trying to tell people that even though a person posts a trade setup, you still have to decide when to enter. A trade setup is not a signal, at least in my book. When I post a trade setup, it's just like an analysis. And your analysis must be based on a synthesis of information that's deduced, indicated, or anticipated. And that's what we put on our charts. So all these lines, the indicators that we use, all that combines to make an analysis. So even though I can look at this descending channel and say this pattern should break bullish. It won't change though. But even though I say that, that doesn't immediately give you the right or the information needed to enter a trade. Your trade entry must be based on anticipated movement combined with proven tested price action. Okay, I'm going to say those two again. Your analysis must be based on a synthesis of information that is deduced, indicated, and anticipated. We use classical chart patterns. We use specific indicators. We use those things to make an analysis. We use Fibonacci's. All those things are used to make an analysis. But an entry must be based on an anticipated movement, which is what I think is going to happen. See, I think this is going to move in a bullish way based on this pattern. That's the movement. That's the wave. It is not price action. Movement, when I say movement, this is a move. When I say a wave, these are waves. These are waves, but the movement is bearish or bullish. So when I say this pair should break bullish, that is the movement. So your entry is based on an anticipated movement combined with a proven, tested price action. Okay, so something that happens within these little candles that tells you now is the time to enter. I'll just show you again one of ours. So let's just say this area here, this pin bar was right at a reversal point. And matter of fact, let's not even use this pin bar. Let's use here. Here we got railroads. Okay, so right here at this railroad tracks, this price action at this specific reversal point would be an entry trigger. This entry trigger has its own take profit zone, it has its own stop loss, and it has its own entry requirements. Something still has to happen after we see this in order to enter the trade. So that is the difference between that's the reason why people can post trade setups, or at least when I post trade setups, I'm not telling you at that point you should be entering the trade. You have to wait because the price, even in this descending channel, the price could continue lower, or it can extend the pattern or make some crazy movements in the pattern before it moves up. So you have to wait for your price action before you enter your trade. And as I said, we have 8 different entry triggers in our system. So that's it to answer that question. Thanks for questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. TradingView, email, or at the bottom of the video here. So let's get into our outlook for the week. So our dollar, I'm from the US, so our dollar, my dollar is dying. Right now, our sentiment is bearish, and that's another important thing. The sentiment. Our sentiment, we base our sentiment on a couple of things. Number one, the last impulse. If price has not overtaken the last impulse, then that impulse is in effect. That is our sentiment. So as of right now, this impulse is still holding. So it means we have a bearish sentiment. Now, if I had a clear bounce on a pattern, a larger pattern, like or a bounce even from here, which is the next low, then I would possibly change my sentiment, even though this is the current impulse. If we got a clear bounce, and a clear bounce means that there was an entry trigger, then I could possibly change the sentiment. Okay, but these highs and lows have to be broken also to change sentiment. So this next current low that I'm looking at for the dollar index, okay, so that low that I'm talking about, the next low, is based off the daily chart and a daily candle. So I'm looking at this position here, and that is the next low. I'm looking for price to make some type of move or have some type of price action in that area on the dollar index. But right now the dollar is definitely bearish. I don't know exactly when we're going to turn around, but right now that's what we're trading. Even though I don't like the dollar losing strength, I still can trade it and make money. So until the dollar index starts breaking these 4-hour highs and makes a higher high and a higher low, then we'll be heading back up. But right now, we're still bearish with an anticipation of a bullish move from this pattern. Next, we're looking at WTI crude oil. Last week, we got a nice move down. We were anticipating this movement be based off of this pattern. It has broken down and is currently bearish for us. A nice bearish impulse. So what we're expecting this week is some type of continuation pattern and more bearish movement. Watch price action when it gets to these lows. The reason why you want to pay attention to lows and highs is because the big banks and the big money playmakers, when they come to a high or a low, those are places where regular retail traders like us start placing orders and taking orders. So when it makes a high, eventually it's going to come back to that high and try to stop out people. Like here. So here was a high. So price came back to the same high and exceeded it by, look like 5 or so pips or 55 points. What that does is it hits those stop losses of those people who went short here and who were still holding. And now all those people who started to go long, price reverses on you now. So it's a good idea to keep track of the tops and bottoms so you know where those players are trying to manipulate the market on you. Let me pull up my indicators also. So you see we're oversold here, and we're looking for some type of bullish movement. I don't think it's going to move all the way back up, but it's going to make a continuation pattern. Gold made a nice move last week. It broke out of this flag, made its 1, 2, 3 waves, and pushed out, retested, and continued up. The next high we're looking at some type of movement at is this high. So since it is overbought at this point, this week we'll be looking for some type of continuation pattern and more movement up, more bullish movement. So our sentiment is bullish based on the fact that it has broken bullishly out of a pattern, and our bullish impulse is still in force. All right, to our dollar pairs. Euro USD will follow suit with the dollar strengthening or weakening, and this week we're probably looking at a bullish bounce on the US dollar. We don't know exactly when, but the pattern is showing us that we should expect a movement like this. We are overbought. We should expect some type of bearish movement. But until we break these lows, we are still bullish on the pair. Also with our MACD, we do have MACD divergence based off the long term, but in the short term area, we are not experiencing divergence. We're actually rising. We're actually strengthening in the short term. And when I say short term, I'm meaning the last few movements and last few highs and lows. That's a high, that's a low, that's a high, that's a low. Based off those, just those two, we are still pointing up. Okay, but this week we're going to look for a bearish move, maybe to retest this low, start another continuation pattern. We'll see. But it's all based off the dollar and what Mr. Trump decides to say or tweet. That's going to make the market move. Pound dollar. We're still bullish on this pair also. We see prices still in a flag, which means we're looking for this pattern to break north, break bullish. Here's the current low, here's the current high, and until price breaks one of those two, we are still holding on this bullish impulse that we had earlier. RSI just has come from being oversold, so we're on our way up. So let's anticipate some more movement, bullish movement on the cable. Dollar CAD. Okay, dollar CAD, don't forget, you always have to see what oil is doing to know what those CAD pairs are doing. Here's a upcoming low based off of our daily chart, our previous low on the opposite side of this bounce. Let's look at it real quick. Okay, so based off of this long term, this is back in April of 2016, and when it first created this low, then everybody were waiting for this pattern to break down, which it finally has. I hope people are in it. If not, price is giving you multiple opportunities to get into this trade. It first set up on the bounce. Let's look at it. On a daily chart, it gave you a great bearish engulfing candle. If you didn't get that, it looks like it pulled back and gave you a Fibonacci trade. Depends on what you guys, if you guys use Fibonacci's or not. Another entry. Then it came back and formed another pattern. Another continuation pattern right here. Get in again. Then it gave you another continuation pattern. I'm still holding a position in this. Price has just been coming down and down, giving you more opportunities to get into this pair. So right now, we're still bearish sentiment, but price is in a descending channel. which means we're looking for something to break out. And until it breaks these current highs and I can't say what's the word, that it invalidates, there you go, this bearish impulse, we're still bearish. And another reason why you need to know your sentiment is it helps you to draw your patterns. Because if my sentiment is bearish, see, I'm looking for to draw my lines, excuse me, underneath price. See, I don't even need this top one if I'm thinking about the price going down. Same as these two. I encapsulate price just visually so I can know what is possibility. But if I didn't encapsulate that, all of my patterns I would be looking for would be for a drop, for a bearish drop. So that helps you to know where to draw your patterns. So if I had a bullish sentiment, now my patterns here could look for bullish movements, as in this descending channel. It's looking for a bullish movement. If I was only thinking bearish, I would only be drawing the patterns that I see that break bearish, like this, like this, like this. So it also helps in your drawing of patterns to know what is your current sentiment. Excuse me. So right now we're still bearish until we get a bounce and invalidation of these current highs and this bearish impulse. So look for a bounce or a break of this pattern. And once again, that is not an entry signal. It's not a trade signal. You have to go to whatever time frames you use and use whatever trigger you use to enter the trade. Okay. Dollar yen. Okay, we're still bearish on this pair based off of a bounce. We had a nice bearish bounce here, and we are coming down, and we're now at another reversal point, and we have to look and see what price gives us at this point. We're almost oversold here on RSI, and we do have some MACD divergence. So I am expecting a bounce and a rise. Has to break this high to go to a new sentiment of bullish. But until then, we'll be looking to take this, if it's just a short trade, we'll still be anticipating a bounce here and looking to make at least this small trade, and eventually hopefully it will turn into a larger trade. But since price is still bearish, we are anticipating that this would be a continuation pattern, not a reversal, until we start making some new highs and higher lows. We are still bearish, so we're expecting a continuation pattern that we still can trade, and then more bearish movement. The Swissy. Okay, the Chief made some good moves last week also. Really crazy spikes, but it continued in the pattern and broke down, and now it is just passing a low, previous low. So we're looking and expecting a bullish bounce here this week. Once again, we're looking for a continuation pattern until price starts to break these current highs and lows. These current highs. Once price starts breaking these current highs, then the sentiment will change. But right now, we're expecting a continuation pattern and more down. Also, you can see in the MACD that we don't have any divergence. We actually have more pushing bearish strength. Now, as I said, on the long term, we do have divergence, but in the current highs and lows, we have only bearish sentiment. New Zealand US dollar is bullish. It's coming to a previous high, so we'll look and see what price action does then. But based on this ascending channel that it is in, I'm anticipating this week a bearish move, anticipating a bounce within this area. So here is your kind of strike zone right here. Somewhere in this area, I'm expecting a bounce, a bearish bounce, and at minimum, a retest of this low and possibly a break of the pattern. So that's what we have on New Zealand USD. Aussie dollar. Oh, didn't put it on here. Aussie dollar also is still bullish sentiment until we start breaking down some of these lows. Here's the most current low of impulse, and here's the low of the pattern. And this pattern breaks bullish. So until we get some lower lows and lower highs, we're still bullish. So that means price can still come up to this next high based off of higher time frame. I'm expecting a break of this pattern and a retest at least of this high and possibly the new high. This old high, it's not a new high, but to make a new high based on this previous high point. So until we get our bearish movement, we're bullish. So look for a bounce or a break of this pattern in the bullish direction. It still has a little bit more room to go down here on RSI. So make sure you wait until you get a trigger. All right, let's look at our euro pairs. Okay, euro pound is still bullish until we get a confirmed bounce on the top of this pattern. And the confirmed bounce means what? An entry trigger. You get an entry trigger that confirms the bounce. Until that point, we're still looking for longs. But this week, I'm expecting a bearish bounce and then a bearish break of this pattern. I could draw the other side of it, but it doesn't really make a difference. I see it here on our RSI. RSI is over, just coming off of overbought, so we're looking for movement down. We don't have MACD divergence, so once again, be careful. Make sure you enter only on a confirmed trigger. Here's the next high that we will be looking at. That price could reach up into this high before turning around. So don't enter early, enter precisely at the right time and ride the wave down. Euro CAD. Okay, Euro CAD is bearish based off of this large bearish impulse. The current pattern it's in is a descending channel which breaks bullish, but it has not broken the previous highs and given us new highs and new lows. So right now, this current high that it has is equal to this one. So if for some reason when the market opened, it broke bullish and broke out of this pattern, I could at that point change the sentiment because it will be now a bullish break of a pattern and the sentiment could change. But right now we're still anticipating price to break out of this channel, this magenta channel, and go back down. We have MACD divergence pushing up, so that also lets me know that this could just as easily turn this way this week instead of going down. This is the reason we do our analysis. This is the reason why we know the possibilities. So when you know the possibilities, just wait and trade the break. Trade the break of this pattern, whether it goes bearish or bullish. Right now it looks, doesn't it look bullish? You see this nice bullish candles. 1, 2, and then this one came up a little short, but started the pattern. So if you were just looking at this price action without having indicators, and maybe not even knowing anything else about the system, this would be impulse, flag, and what do you expect after a flag? Another impulse. So let's see what we get this week, but don't enter early. Euro yen. So euro yen is bearish this week because it bounced off the top here, and now it has formed this big continuation pattern, kind of a retest almost of the high, and another bearish bounce, a big bearish engulfing candle here. So on our RSI, it is in the middle here in the neutral zone area. So price could continue down, or it could swing back up for another retest of the current high. We have MACD divergence, but our divergence is a bullish divergence. Just make sure you can see this. See, because here's our high, and here's the next high. This high is below the median range of the MACD. This one is way above. So it's not actually divergence. We're actually just we're not having divergence. So we don't have a push down from MACD. So that means price can go either way. Be careful. But this pattern that the yen is in should break bearish. Should continue out this way. Let's see what we get this week. Euro Aussie. Okay, Euro Aussie currently is bullish based off of this bullish reversal, the bullish bounce that we got. And also you see RSI divergence, bullish divergence. We have two equal highs, but the RSI is lower here than this one. Okay, which lets me know that I should be expecting that continuation pattern this week and more bullish movement to come up to the higher point of this descending channel. And that descending channel breaks north. So it could be breaking out of this channel this week. Euro NZD also is bullish based off of this pin bar bounce. We had a nice bounce top, came down, bounced off the bottom, and is now creating a continuation pattern. So we're expecting price to break out of this pattern, retest this high at least, and we'll see how far it goes up. But right now, this little pattern here is also a continuation pattern. So if I actually drew it, you would see these little connections like this. Okay, so this is a little flag on a smaller time frame, maybe the 1 hour or 30 minutes. So we're still expecting price to break bullish. Let's see what we get. But as you see, RSI is not over, so it still has a little more room to go. So do not enter early. Just wait till you get a confirmed trigger. Euro Chief, the turtle. Turtle is bullish for me because we had this nice bullish movement up, and now we're in a continuation pattern. It's given a lot of good trading possibilities. Had a wave up, wave down, wave up, and now we're on another wave down. Now once price breaks this low, our sentiment would change. But here's the next high coming up. We have MACD divergence. So all indicators are pointing down, but price still has not broken, and price is the king. So if price moves down to an oversold condition, we might see a continuation pattern form, and then more low. But right now, just expect price to come down and retest this low, possibly make a continuation pattern and continue down. And at that point, we will be bearish in the sentiment. Pound yen. Okay, pound yen is in this descending channel after a bounce, a retest of the high. So these are good trades. I actually entered a couple of pound trades last week also. These are some of my most favorite trades. The actual retest of the high comes into our money trade and our double top trade area, and those are just guaranteed money for us. It doesn't have to give a super impulse, but once price retests a high or a low, you can expect either a impulsive movement or even a corrective movement like this away from that previous high or low, and those are just good trades for us. So right now, we have broken that previous low, so that means we are bearish, and we're anticipating this week another move, maybe up into this channel or above. Since we don't have a bullish impulse, this current bearish impulse is the most powerful thing we have right now in the chart. So price can retrace and come back again, just like the New Zealand yen, and make a third test of this top before falling down again. But right now, this week, we're looking for a bullish move. We have our divergence, MACD divergence here. So price is going to continue down until we get some nice bullish impulse like we had here, this previous movement. Okay, so, but this week we're anticipating a bullish move to form a continuation pattern, possibly, or stay within this channel, and we'll go from there. Pound CAD. Pound CAD is also in a descending channel after making a nice bearish impulse, following on with these other bearish impulse. As you can see, we had a nice 2-candle bearish impulse here that extended 290 pips. This one extended down 250 pips, and this one extended down 230 pips. If you're not noticing that decrease in the amount of pips, you should. It lets you know that it is losing strength, as MACD shows us. We're oversold in the RSI, so once again, we're anticipating this week a movement up. It could come down a little farther. There's the next low here, and make a bounce and then move up. But buy the bounce or break of this pattern in anticipation of maybe a retest of this descending channel, and maybe even eventually pushing higher, pushing out of the pattern and above this high. And then we'll change to bullish and ride the waves that way. Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie should actually be in this point. I don't know, I guess I didn't change it. It should be bullish, and I'll tell you why. Because even though they have this beautiful bearish impulse, we have had a confirmed bounce. Okay, so we have had a confirmed bounce, which means we had an entry going long. Plus, we have our MACD pushing back bullish also. So right now I'm bullish, looking for longs in this pair. So right now we had an impulse up, looking for this to be a correction, and then more movement up. I'm anticipating it to break this high and continue bullish. As I said, we'll see what price gives us, but you need to know the possibilities. We had a bullish bounce, and we're anticipating more bullish movement from this pair. We're in the middle zone here, in the dead zone, so we're looking for it to get to an oversold position, overbought position soon, and then we can look for another continuation pattern and more north. But right now, all signals are pointing north, so bullish. Pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand has not had that bounce yet. It is still being pushed down by these bearish impulses. So until we get a bounce here off of this next low area, then we will be bullish. We're oversold. We don't have any MACD divergence, but until we get a good bounce, a confirmed entry, we're still bearish on this pair. So we're looking for a continuation pattern to form and more bearish movement. Okay, as you can see, here's the larger pattern. Here was the bounce. We are still moving down, but these lows here will come into play. Remember, I told you about how the lows and the highs work. So below this low point, there are stops. So what the players might do is spike down into this area below this low and extend the spread to reach down and hit those stops before pushing back north. If I can actually click the candle, before pushing back up. So they will reach down, hit those stops, and then move up. Okay? And the same on the opposite way. Right now we have a lot of people going short, which means your stops are probably in this area here. Those folks who got in late, their stops are right in this area. So what could happen is they push up just above or just to this high and take these same spikes and spike up like this. Extend the spread and reach up and hit your stop losses before pushing back down. That's the game. Got to know the game to play the game. Okay, Aussie CAD, going into our Aussie pairs. Last week I was expecting a lot from these Aussie pairs, and I got a lot from them. Got a lot of good trade setups on lower time frames. But every weekend when you're doing your analysis, you should see the currency that is weak or strong based off of your analysis and setups. A lot of the currencies will have the same setup in their pairs. Okay, so right now our Aussie CAD, we have a descending channel, bullish sentiment, so we're expecting a bounce in this area and a break of this pattern with a possible retest of this high. We're almost oversold, so everything's pointing bullish for us this week. Nice bounce off of the low here, and so we're still moving up. Look for your bounce or break. Okay, that's Aussie CAD. Aussie Chief, same thing. Descending channel, bullish sentiment. Price is currently at the low of this previous bullish impulse, but we're oversold, looking for another bullish bounce and retest of this high. Aussie Yen, almost the same thing. Can't quite draw the pattern as clearly. You could try to make it, but since we know the other Aussie pairs are doing the same thing, we don't really have to draw this pattern. We just need to know that it is coming to an area where it should bounce. It is oversold, and we're looking for a bullish movement this week. And remember, on your retest, it does not have to go all the way back to the top. That's when you start using your fibs to see where price should turn around. Okay. But because we have this current area here, and we have had a bounce, so I could technically turn this around, but until it breaks this impulse right now and this trend line, I'm still going to stay bullish on the pair. Aussie New Zealand, as you can see, I've already changed this one to bearish. It's made a bounce off of a previous highs, created a new high and new lower low. And price is continuing its way down. We're oversold right now. So what we're anticipating for this week is a continuation pattern and more down to retest this next low and head down further. So remember, can't talk. Remember, every time you come to a previous low or previous high, watch the price action. I don't believe in support and resistance making these big long lines across the world, but I know that every time there were spikes and there was a high and a low, that's where orders are. So there's going to be movement every time it hits those areas. It's like coming to a speed bump. You could be doing 100 miles an hour and you come to that speed bump, something's going to happen. You might drop a transmission, or you might do something crazy to your vehicle, but there are speed bumps there. Okay, so these areas, these highs and these lows are speed bumps. So price will make some type of reaction. It will slow down and then speed up afterwards. New Zealand yen, my biggest trade, as I said before, was on the New Zealand yen. And it is also given the same type of pattern, that triple top. 1, 2, 3. If you give a person 3 chances to enter, there's no point if they haven't entered the trade yet. Okay, so if you haven't gotten short on this pair yet, I don't know what else to tell you. You can wait until another break of this this ascending line here, this ascending trend line, but it is giving you 3 times to make money. So let's see, how far did we go down this time? First time, 123 pips. Second time, 145 pips. And this time, I'm thinking we're coming out. We are going to come out of this pattern and start heading south. Okay, so we have to see once price breaks these lows. Next high we have is up here. So another only 60 pips away, but price can't climb any higher. So this is our high, and we're expecting the price to break bearish. We got MACD divergence. We've been overbought, and we're just anticipating that move down. So price is giving you another chance to get into this trade. Last time this price did this, okay, what's back here? 1, you don't even have to consider this one. 1, 2, 3. And after that third time, on that third movement, price went down almost 800 pips. Okay, you don't have the same huge movement, but you can expect price to still come within that 400, 500 pip drop range. Okay, All right, New Zealand cat. Right now I have New Zealand cat as neutral. That's what these little arrows are for. And these are, I'm putting these here for you. I know when I do my analysis what I believe about pairs. I just want to make sure visually you guys can see what I'm thinking. Okay, so we've had price come from a top. Okay, price moved out of this pattern, broke down, has hit a bottom, but it has not moved away from the bottom. It's just holding, just consolidating here. We had a bearish impulse, another smallish bearish impulse, but we've never broken the high here. We've never invalidated this bearish impulse. We've just correctively moved within this zone. So right now, I have this as neutral. I wouldn't mess with this pair until it gives us some clear movement. New Zealand Chief. It's almost the same type of dilemma with the New Zealand cat. It's just holding within this zone, making little movements, bearish impulse, hold, bullish impulse, hold. And currently we have looks like a flag pattern setting up. But as I said, I have it as neutral also. You can trade this pattern if you get a good bearish bounce here at the top. But as of right now, I'm not really messing with it until it makes a clearer move right now. It looks like it should break bullish based off of the current higher time frame impulse, but it's not doing anything for me right now. Okay, I've been looking at the dollar peso because of our new illustrious leader, Mr. Trump's talking about the wall. The peso has been making some nice moves, so it is currently bouncing off the bottom of this descending channel, and it's about to get into the overbought area, which means I'm anticipating either another move down to make a pattern with these two movements here, or continuation pattern of its own and more up. So one of the two. It's either gonna form some type of pattern here or something like this, maybe some type of flat channel, but we'll see once price gives us a little clearer picture. But right now it has made a clear bounce off on the 240 time frame. We have a nice bullish impulse here on a lower time frame, 30 minutes or 15 minutes. So price is moving up. It's coming to our overbought area. Should give us a continuation pattern and more up. And that is it for today, people. I hope this was informative for you. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. Send me an email. Contact me via any of the social media, Telegram, Facebook, TradingView. And since this week is my birthday week, I'm going to take I think we're going to have the first 5 students who sign up, the first 5 people who sign up going into August here will receive a special deal for the course. We'll work it out, and like I said, just because I'm trying to do something for my birthday, but make sure you get a hold of me on all social media. Link up with me on all social media, from Telegram to Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Subscribe so you can see what other videos I put out. And look forward to working with you, and good trading.